Interest rate this, interest rate that. For some reason, everyone is so concerned about the interest rates. But why is that? Now, obviously, I understand the consumer's perspective. And trust me, if I had $1 for every time that a client came to me and said, I want to wait till the interest rates drop, I wouldn't have to be a realtor anymore. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have talked to industry professionals and asked, hey, when's the right time to buy? I've even had friends of mine ask me at dinner, what do you think about waiting to buy right now? And I always have the same response for them. And you've probably heard the same response too. Right now is the best time to buy. Now I know what you may be thinking, oh, it's a convoluted script that all of us were taught so that we can encourage you to buy a house. Now even I agree that it sounds that way, but that's the easiest way that we can put it because there is some logic behind it. Now, especially right now when we're in such a high interest rate market, a lot of people's first intuition is to wait. We've seen time and time again where the Fed continues to promise a rate cut by the end of the year, and they either don't happen to the way that we expect it, or the drop is very, very insignificant. The goal of this video is to actually help you understand interest rates to see how much they're actually going to impact your home buying experience. Now, the one thing to understand when it comes to interest rates is that low interest rate markets means that more people have more money and there's going to be more competition. High interest rate markets usually mean there's going to be less people in the market. Even just coming out of such a high market from the past year, we've seen so much activity go on, especially here around the San Gabriel Valley or Los Angeles County area. Now, when realtors and lenders tell you that right now is the best time to buy despite the interest rates, what we're talking about is if you find your right home or dream home. So the reason why we tell you that is because let's say you find your perfect home or you're on the market and you find your dream home. If you decide to sit on that property and wait for the interest rates to drop, chances are, one, that home is not going to be available by the time the interest rates drop. Two, the chances of a home being very similar to it popping up are going to be also very rare. And three, you don't know when the interest rates are going to drop. Not you, not your realtor, and not your lender. Trust me, even my first couple of years of being a realtor, I always thought that the lenders knew something a little bit secret that I didn't, and I would always try to sneak in. When do you think the interest rates are going to drop? When do you think will be a great time to buy? And every single time, no one had an actual answer. Now you can always predict and speculate, but we've seen so many times again that predictions and speculations can only take you so far. Now let's try to put this math into paper so that you fully understand how interest rates affect you. So we're going to do 3 columns right here. We have a low interest rate market. Then we have a high interest rate market. And then let's say we have a low interest rate market plus some realistic variables. Now the first 2 that we're going to focus on is just going to be math alone. And the third one, we're going to include some variables that are usually not thought about, but we have seen happen more and more times whenever we enter a low interest rate market. So starting off with our high interest rate market. Now between the low interest rate and the high interest rate market, let's say you have a $75,000 purchase price. $750,000 purchase price. And for the sake of easy math, we're going to give ourselves a 10% down payment. And now for the high interest rate market, let's say all hell breaks loose. We are now sitting at a 6.5% interest rate. And for the low interest rate, we'll do a realistic interest rate drop, which is about 0.5%, which I would say personally is still a very, very steep drop. And more than likely, not that realistic anytime soon. So when you're paying your mortgage, the 2 biggest part of your monthly payments are going to be P&I, which stands for principal and interest. The numbers that we're going to calculate out do not include property tax or insurance, as they do get a little bit different between case by case. So our high interest rate market, our P&I is now standing at $4,266.46, which will, for the sake of making things easier, we'll ignore that part for now when it comes to doing the math. And for our low interest rate market, we have $4,046.97. So the difference between your high interest rate market and your low interest rate market are going to be around $220. So essentially $220 is going to be the difference between you living in your dream home now than having to wait 6 months later. Now I know what you guys are thinking. $220 a month? That's a lot of money. You know how many In-N-Out burgers I can eat with $220 a month? Probably a lot. That's why this third column exists. We are now going to calculate a low interest rate market plus some realistic variables. Now, the one thing to consider is that if you manage to wait yourself out and find yourself in a low interest rate market and decided to start home buying again, hundreds, if not thousands of other home buyers who are waiting on the sidelines are now about to enter the market with you. Low interest rates mean higher competition. And when that happens, a house that used to cost $750,000, you're going to probably have to negotiate and fight for. And we'll be a little bit generous and say maybe you caught that property around $50,000 over asking price. So we're going to say $800,000. And we're gonna say you caught it at a 6% interest rate with the same down payment. With this in consideration, your new P&I is now $4,316.76. Now this number is actually higher than the high interest rate market. Now yes, you could essentially stay below the 750 mark for the purchase price, but the kind of house that you're looking at will definitely vary. Sitting in a low interest rate market and looking for a house that's in a lower budget means that you might actually not walk away with the kind of house that you wanted in the first place. So when you're looking at the interest rates and you're feeling a little bit discouraged, just remember, you're fighting over $50, maybe a couple $100 at the end of the day on your monthly. And if that truly is an issue for you, one thing I would recommend is maybe lowering your purchase price. Might be a difficult choice to make, but later on, you'll be able to buy the bigger house that you want with the built-up equity that you have. And the last piece of advice that I can offer to some of you guys who are a little bit more attentive to the interest rates is that working with the right lender could offer some buy-down advantages. Saving up a higher down payment does get you a lower interest rate at the end of the day. What you see online and what you hear from the news is not always going to be the interest rate that you get. And most of the time, a lender with a higher down payment has more flexibility with your interest rate. Have any more questions about interest rate, feel free to leave them in the comments down below and I'll be sure to get to them. If any of you guys found this helpful, I'm hoping that you guys can apply it to your home buying journey too. If you ever want to talk to a real estate professional or a lending professional, feel free to reach out to me at the contacts down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video and want to learn more about real estate, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps. Once again, this has been Ethan, and I'll see you guys in the next video.